Welcome back to Oh Wow, That's Why. In January, a devastating wildfire swept through Los Angeles. Among the aftermath photos shared online, one image went viral, a pristine white mansion standing untouched while the surrounding homes were reduced to ashes. The contrast was stark, and many began to wonder, why do Americans still build houses with wood? Let's talk about it. The January wildfire in LA lasted nearly a month. It destroyed around 18,000 buildings and claimed at least 29 lives, making it the second worst wildfire in US history, only behind the 2018 Camp Fire, which also took place in California. Wildfires in the US are frequent and increasingly destructive due to climate change. Just last year, wildfires caused over $1.8 billion in damages. That's enough to build a new Taipei 101. And yet, the US is still one of the few countries where wood remains the top choice for home construction. In fact, 90% of new homes built in 2019 were wooden. Why? Let's go back in time. The American love for wood started in the 16th century when European colonists arrived in North America. They needed to build a lot of homes quickly and had no skilled stonemasons or large brick kilns. Forests, however, were everywhere. Wood was cheap, available, and easy to use. As settlers moved westward, the demand for housing increased. Even though brick and stone techniques existed, those materials were heavy and slow to work with. Wood was lighter, faster, and more adaptable. As time went on, wooden construction methods improved. Builders shifted from using massive logs to using lighter wooden frames. Homes began being built floor by floor, allowing factories to mass-produce standardized wood parts. This lowered costs, sped up construction, and made structures stronger. And since America had no shortage of skilled woodworkers, the industry flourished. In fact, by the early 20th century, entire neighborhoods of wood frame homes were being assembled like Lego kits, shipped in pieces and nailed together on site. Wooden homes are cheaper than brick or concrete ones. According to US government data, concrete homes can cost about 4% more. The barrier to entry is also low. Many homeowners even build their own wooden homes, saving even more money. Sure, wood can rot or attract bugs, and it needs regular maintenance, but materials are easy to buy and simple to DIY. Add in the fact that the average American moves 11.7 times in their lifetime, and it's easy to see why low cost, easy to sell, easy to rebuild wooden homes are the most flexible choice. And it's not just about cost, it's about speed. In some parts of the country, a wood frame house can go from blueprint to move in ready in just 2 to 3 months. In a fast-paced real estate market, that's a huge advantage. Property taxes in the US are based on market value. Because wood homes have shorter lifespans and are more vulnerable to weather or fire, their value is often lower, meaning lower taxes. On top of that, wood is seen as a sustainable material. Trees absorb CO2, and when used in homes and furniture, that carbon stays locked in. Because of this, some state governments even offer tax incentives to encourage building with wood. And in the age of greenwashing, sustainability is a pretty good marketing hook. Wood homes are often seen as eco-chic, even if their maintenance needs tell a different story. Wooden houses are more fire-prone, so you'd expect higher insurance premiums. But in places like California, where wildfires are common, insurance costs are already high across the board, no matter the building material. Many policies also require homeowners to start rebuilding within 6 months to a year after a fire. If you don't rebuild in time, the insurer might reduce or deny coverage. And here's the kicker. Insurance often only covers the original materials. If a wooden house burns down, rebuilding with more fire-resistant materials can be expensive and time-consuming, so people default to rebuilding with wood. In effect, the system punishes people for trying to build safer homes. And in high-risk zones, time is money. If wood lets you rebuild faster and cheaper, it's the obvious choice, even if it's not the safest one. With global warming making wildfires worse, some experts are calling for an end to wooden construction in fire-prone areas. Between 1972 and 2018, the area affected by wildfires in California grew 5-fold. In summer, it's 8 times worse. Critics argue that even fire-treated wood can't withstand these mega fires. Burning wooden homes also release toxic chemicals that harm both health and the environment. It's like setting fire to a box of furniture polish, paint, and plastic, and then wondering why you can't breathe. Some have proposed stricter codes or outright bans on wood use in certain regions. Others want subsidies for metal and concrete materials. But change is hard when it clashes with decades of cultural norms and economic realities. Experts say two major flaws are worsening wildfires in California: building codes and insurance policies. Let's start with zoning. As California's population grew, homes pushed further into the wildland-urban interface, areas that are flammable and hard to access. Emergency responses become tougher, and fires spread faster. Then there's the insurance issue. California's Proposition 103, passed in 1988, restricts insurers from adjusting rates based on climate risks. Insurers say this makes it unprofitable, so many have left the state. As a result, more people rely on California's FAIR Plan, a last resort state-monitored insurance pool. In 2020, 20% of homes were on the FAIR Plan. By 2024, that number doubled, yet it offers minimal coverage at a steep cost. So many residents now go uninsured. This leads to a vicious cycle: more risk, fewer insurers, less protection, and slower recovery. After the 2018 Dixie Fire, officials noticed that buildings with metal roofs or fire-resistant walls often survived, so new laws now require rebuilt homes to meet stricter fire codes. Porches and fixed structures made with flammable materials are banned near homes. The state also plans to redesign cities and roads for better emergency access and reduce housing density to slow fire spread. Instead of banning wood altogether, California is aiming to make wooden homes safer, balancing cost, industry needs, and safety. On the insurance front, the government plans to let insurers factor in climate risk more fairly, but these changes are still being debated. In the meantime, wildfire-prone areas are becoming harder to insure, harder to rebuild in, and harder to live in affordably. And yet, people keep moving in. Who wondered? Why do Americans love wooden houses so much, even with all the wildfires? Turns out, it's not a simple answer. There are layers of history, economy, tax codes, industry habits, and policy gaps. Asking people to change materials isn't enough. Building codes, insurance systems, and incentives all need reform to truly reduce wildfire risks. And we learned something unexpected too, like how price control laws meant to protect citizens, like Proposition 103, can backfire and leave people without insurance when they need it most. Policies have ripple effects, and sometimes even the best intentions can create new problems. Wildfire policy still has a long way to go. So what do you think Californians should do to reduce future wildfire damage? Thanks for watching. Oh wow, that's why. The only show where learning feels like a meme dump. We'll see you next time.